putting it on wax. It's the new style.
4 and 3 and 2 and 1.
What up?
And when I'm on the mic, the suckers run.
Word.
Tell me that I'm rocking like 10, you ain't. And I got more juice than Picasso got pen. Got rhymes that are rough and rhymes that are slick. I'm not surprised you're on my dick.
Welcome back to the Coliseum of Fantasy Knowledge. This is the IDP Fantasy Empire. Coming back, it's been a little while since we've been on here. We wanted to come back. We have a couple podcasts we're going to throw up today, or 3 or 2. Was it 3? Yeah, 3 podcasts we're going to do. We took a little extra time doing the cornerbacks and the wide receivers. Wide receiver class is pretty deep, so there's a lot of film to watch. So, again, coming to you, we're going to start with the news on this one. Again, it's going to be getting draft season soon, and so some of the fantasy leagues are going to start kind of poking their heads out. Easter's over, and so some of these guys are going to rise and start poking you with emails.
Yep.
Like, hey, buddy, just reminding you, your fantasy team is ready.
Yeah, and we will have a draft kit out shortly after the NFL draft. Again, we're pumping out these mini-series where we just look at the rookies in one particular position. We've successfully touched on every single player, each position, and we're going to continue to do so. We got the quarterbacks tonight and the wide receivers as well. I know we spent the last couple weeks. That's one of the reasons why we didn't bring you a podcast last week.
Yeah, it's a lot to go through, especially on quarterbacks, running backs, all these guys. It's a lot of stuff. They have a lot of film, a lot of reports to read. I mean, I'm a report reader. I love reading them. So, especially if you get 5 or 6 that are saying the same thing, it's usually pretty true in my experiences. So, I guess we'll kick it off with the news. The biggest news actually was yesterday, I guess, was the Patriots trading Brandon Cooks for the Rams' first-round draft pick, so the 23rd pick. So now the Patriots, I think, are in line to get a quarterback, I believe, is what they're going to do. I believe so.
Mason Rudolph?
I mean, maybe. I don't think they needed to trade up to get him. Do you? Do you think they needed to get a 23rd to get him?
I've heard a lot of talk that he's a lot of teams' number 2 quarterback coming out of this.
I mean, I would say if it's maybe someone who fails to trade up, I guess. But I think most of the trading is going to be good depending on – I mean, if Cleveland takes Darnold, the Jets may decide to go down if they just don't pull the trigger like the Cowboys did on Elliott and just pull it on Barkley. I mean, that's going to be the big issue. I mean, for me, I love that Cooks went to the Rams. I think that's a good fit for him. That's kind of what the Rams needed. The Patriots didn't really need Cooks. They don't really use deep threats. They use slot guys. That's what they do. You know, those are their big receivers, are the guys in the little inside the paints. That's what they do and what they get. I mean, if it was me, I'd get one of those guys for Mason Rudolph because you're going to have a guy who can chuck the ball. But they think about 5 years ahead, so we'll see how that goes. All right, going into the defensive line, we'll just go ahead and start out there. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Coney Ealy, defensive lineman free agent, is to visit the Cowboys this week. Anything that excites you about that?
Not at the present time, no. I wouldn't be surprised if he did end up signing here, though.
No. Redskins.com reports that Josh Allen, not sure if he'll be back from his
Liz Frank injury.
What is a Liz Frank injury?
It's something to do with your foot. I talked to my buddy Kenny, medical professional.
Yeah, apparently I don't know him. He's not a buddy of mine either.
He's our buddy. Great guy, you know. Don't believe anything he says because he will try and steer you wrong. And I've been talking to him about this James Washington kid, and, you know, I'm not sure if I should believe him. But he's a guy that was a rookie last year, and we were really excited to see him develop. He was kind of one of those Linval Joseph premium type players, you know, one of those guys that we expected to take big leaps. They actually moved him out to end, where we expected him to play defensive tackle. And I believe he was listed as a defensive tackle most of last season.
Yeah, he was.
This season, it looks like he's going to be listed as a defensive end, or at least he was on the MFL website. And typically, that's what causes the other leagues to change their positional values on players. Next up, the ClevelandBrowns.com is reporting that Bradley Chubb, a defensive end rookie, is in some of the envisioned ideas of Hugh Jackson. And whenever you hear Hugh Jackson envision something, what's the first thing that comes to mind, Paul?
It screams Robert Griffin III is what it does to me. I just can't. It just rings bad bells and broken kneecaps.
All right. So, are you buying this? The fact that Hugh Jackson wants to put Bradley Chubb next to Myles Garrett?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, they have the 4th pick. I feel like they're going to go quarterback at number 1. Number 4 is kind of up in the air. I mean, I think if Barkley falls and the Giants trade out, then that puts them up there.
Yeah.
I think that's an obvious choice that they would take a running back. They've done it before in the first round. Didn't work out as well, but everyone thinks that Barkley's better, so there you go on that end. I mean, if you put Chubbs and Garrett, I mean, you're going to have Garrett coming into his second year, which typically you start to see more production. So I think Chubb could honestly match up with Garrett's production.
Were you not
easily
entertained by Myles Garrett last year?
I mean, I guess. I didn't own him, so I didn't really pay that much attention, to be honest.
He was
how
really
many
impressive.
Browns games did I watch last year? Just highlights. And just the game film I had to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but again, I don't expect a lot from a defensive end year 1. Like, if they have an impressive rookie year, then sure, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's really that year 2, year 3 development that you really look at for production.
All right. I know you were high on Derek Barnett. Where do you fall with Bradley Chubb and Derek Barnett?
Oh, I think Bradley Chubb's in a different class, to be completely honest.
Than Derek Barnett?
Yeah, Barnett's a different type of athlete than Chubb is. I think Chubb's more of a hybrid, bigger athlete. I mean, I want to say kind of like a Javion Clowney. I don't mean necessarily that I see them in the same echelons, but that category of type of physical player. Barnett's more of a bulkier guy. He's going to use his
traditional.
He's going to use his just straight shearing off the edge, where Chubb is able to use a lot more finesse moves.
I see him more of the same. If I were to pick one, it would be Barnett, just because he's got tenure and we saw him produce at the NFL level.
And he's going to be playing for a pretty good defense too. So it's easier to get more reps and you kind of produce a little more, I feel like, on a strong defensive line.
All right, you have real quick, Bradley Chubb, where are you ranking him? Just off the top of your head, defensive ends.
Oh, he's number 1 defensive end for me.
No, my bad. Going into next season, right now.
Going into next season, you compare to everyone?
Yep.
Top
10?
No, I say 15.
Okay.
In the 15 area.
I was just trying to smoke check you.
Because I think there are a lot of veterans that are starting to be on their downslope. But again, I think Bosa is going to end up being the number 1 by the end of next year.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think Clowney will probably follow him at 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. It really does depend on where they have him listed. Some sites may have him as a defensive end. We saw that in Yahoo. Whereas in MFLs, we saw him as an outside linebacker.
I mean, originally I thought Chubb was going to be going to the Colts, a no-brainer. But, I mean, if I had him at the Colts, I may put him a little higher just because of the opportunities.
Yeah, don't watch ESPN. They've got him going all over the place right now.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's everywhere.
So we've got Miami Herald reporting that Cameron Wake, a defensive end for Miami, may get an extension this offseason. Do you see them moving on from him, and are you selling if you own him in fantasy?
I'll still hold on to him for a while. If I get a good trade, I might do it, but it'd have to be something where I feel like I benefit.
I don't think he can do it all by himself, though. I think Sue helped him a lot. I think we've seen Cameron Wake, and Cameron Wake has been a stud for the past couple of years. My problem is he's getting older, a lot more limited. We're not seeing the production that we once saw, but we've always seen it kind of in flashes, and he's not really that consistent.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd like to see him paired up, get a rookie in there with him at defensive end, but I think Miami's going to go a completely different way in the draft. So,
what about Charles Harris from last season coming out of Missouri? Do you remember him?
Yeah. I mean, he's not bad. I just don't think he's the killer athlete.
Yeah.
And I just don't right now.
Yeah.
Again, training camp changes a lot of stuff. So
takes some development.
Yeah.
Another guy that has been in constant development is Ezekiel Ansah. Detroit Free Press is reporting that he isn't close to what the team is offering him. Thoughts on this?
Are we talking contract?
Yep.
Okay.
Does this impact you at all?
No, because, I mean, wherever he goes, I think he's going to be a fine athlete. I mean, he's not in the top 10 right now. He's just outside. But I don't know, because Detroit's going all new, so we'll see.
Yeah.
They're getting an all-new team, or coaching defense, so see how that runs out.
Dallas Morning News is reporting that Randy Gregory, defensive end from Dallas, is in the process of applying for reinstatement. If he does get reinstated, are you picking him up if he's on the free agent?
Ooh, I almost said a bad word. No, I will not.
Why not?
I just don't like him.
You don't like problem?
Nah, man. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm not going to have him on my team.
Yeah.
It's just one of those deals.
Yeah. All right. ESPN.com is reporting that Carl Lawson, an outside linebacker / defensive end for Cincinnati, is expected to get a lot more playing time this season. I know we talk a lot about coach speak, and it's not quite the OTAs yet. Is this too early to count, or is this early enough that we do count this as something that could be a possibility next season?
Maybe be a possibility, but I think it's early.
As your, I guess, to reframe this question, so during the OTAs, we hear a lot of organizational hype over all the guys that they have on their team. They're all going to the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl. They're all great. Everything else.
They're all MVPs.
Exactly. All 53 of them. But the thing that I'm trying to ask is, do you credit this a little bit more because it's before the draft season, before we really kick this season off? And is there some validity to this, or do you perceive it to be more valid than if it were in OTAs?
I mean, on the question of players in general, I feel like it's just more hype because, again, they have the winter meetings, so they get asked a lot of questions by reporters. So, yeah, a lot of time they throw out, oh, yeah, this guy's going to do great. You know, we expect more from him this next year. We expect more from this guy next year. We think Bradley Chubb would be great with Myles Garnett. You know, we all say crazy things when we're just getting all these mics shoved in our faces.
Yeah.
I take more validity in it once I see if they may talk about a guy who's a rookie coming into his second year, maybe gets more playing time, like, hey, we're going to work him into our rotation more. That gives me a little bit more to go on, but just I think you hit it pretty well. Like, a lot of these guys, everyone thinks they're going to be the best player out there on the field, and, you know, they can say, you know, get a lot more playing time, but until I see it in practices and OTAs, I can't really say that I know for sure.
Yeah, whenever I'm thinking about it, I take this period right now because a lot of the times, granted, I feel like the coaches have their hands tied and they're talking because they don't want to throw or they don't want to give away their cards.
Except for the Giants GM basically saying we don't care about Odell.
Exactly.
Well, Odell's on the team. Thanks, man.
But I do think there is more validity now than the validity of the OTAs, because I think that at that point you're trying to reinforce things. You're trying to motivate your entire team, and you're going to tell the league that everybody's great.
Well, I think also in the OTAs, the questions they get are more focused because they see what they see on the field. Mm-hmm. So they can be like, hey, you know, Carl Lawson is playing a little bit more. Is there a reason? Are you guys working him in? They're like, oh, yeah, then we're working him in. You know, because I think on the OTAs you see it, and so you can actually judge for what you see, not judge for what you hear.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, again, a coach can say all this, but, I mean, he has 90-some guys going into training camp that he has to worry about.
Yeah. So, Carl Lawson, are you going to be buying him with this expected extra snaps?
I mean, I already have Jordan Willis, and I still feel like there's validity in that he's going to play as well. So, it's just a wait and see for me.
I think you're becoming a Bengals fan, man. I've seen your team grow into this Bengals.
Okay. Let's clear this up. The reason I have a lot of Bengals is because they kept getting hurt last year, and I kept trying to replace everyone when Nick Vigil went down.
There's another linebacker that you own that just went to the Cincinnati Bengals, and we'll get to him here in a second.
Probably. I'm going to have like 75 by the end of this freaking year. Like, I've already tried to get out from under Kevin Minter, and I can't do that because no one will take it. Because, I mean, he's just going to be a drop at this point. Yeah. I'm really hoping they just cut Brissett, because that would just clear me up, or I could, you know, kind of move someone else around. But that's only a rumor.
To all you guys out there, since Paul is gaining all these Bengals, whenever OTAs come out and he starts telling us about how great these Bengals are going to be, we've already established that we should not take any validity from what he's saying.
Hey, I was right on Nick Vigil. I stashed him in our Dynasty year one. That turned out all right for me.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying Vincent Ray is, for me, just a backup. And that's the reason I've kept him, is just because at the end of the year I didn't care.
Yeah, I feel like if he were given enough playing time as KJ Wright, I would see them falling about the same spot.
I agree with that. I don't know about Jordan Evans. I just kept him because he's a rookie who played, but I don't know if that's a long-term option.
Yeah. All right, we have the LA Times, and they're reporting that Ndamukong Suh has been signed by the Rams, and he will play as a nose tackle, and Donald will play as a backside defensive tackle, defensive end, on a one-year deal. Fantasy impact.
If I have Darnold, I'm probably pretty happy. I mean, Donald's going to be a monster. I don't know.
You mean Donald, not Darnold.
Yeah, I know. I know what I said.
Okay. But do you think this boosts
damn
Donald's
Donald,
number?
so I called him Darnold.
Do you think this boosts Donald's number?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Look at all the other guys that have played on the ends with Dominican Sue. Dominican Sue takes up blocks.
A la Cameron Wake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he takes up a lot of that pressure, and I think Donald is good by himself.
Yeah.
But I think adding rotation, which a lot of people don't see this as the fact that Sue's going to add rotation to this line.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just be out there all the time, but there's going to allow them to get fresh bodies in and out.
Yeah.
Just imagine you have Sue coming at you 2 plays, Donald coming at you 2 plays.
Yeah.
Or both
And
of
Brockers,
them.
yeah.
Or, you know, you're going to have
They have
guys who can
nasty.
rotate.
And, you know, a
They're
team
building
that
up. They
has,
see what they have, and they want to go get a Super Bowl now.
Yep, a team that has spent their first or second round draft pick on the defensive line the past 5 years. That's a lot of depth and a lot of strength that they have at the defensive line. And they just bolstered their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nuts.
They keep getting more pieces, man.
They keep getting older, but they keep getting better.
Yeah. Well, I think they know their window is probably in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Their window to win right away. And they're going to keep trying to add pieces through the draft to just keep that going. But
Yep.
I feel like they know they have a window now.
Yep.
Especially getting to the playoffs last year was a big, big step.
Yep. Jared Goff found true north. Adam Kaplan is reporting that Chris Long, a defensive end from Philadelphia, will play again in 2018. Is this news to you?
Will he be with Philadelphia?
Yep.
Okay, sure. Cool. I mean,
Nothing. This does nothing for you.
In Dynasty, I'm not going to go
Are
out
you
and
selling?
get him. Well, yeah, I would have sold
What
him
are
last
you
year.
accepting? Anything?
I think it's a little bit less now, but I would have sold him last year.
Yeah.
When I could still get him when they were making their big undefeated streak.
Yeah. ESPN.com is reporting that Corey Liuget, a defensive tackle from the LA Chargers, will be retained in 2018, but will miss the first 4 games with a PED violation. Were you
I kind of
interested?
forgot about who he was, to be honest with you.
He's
been a
defensive
while.
Tackle, number 94 for the Chargers.
Wasn't he out all last year? Or was it a majority of the year?
I think he may have been benched.
I can't remember. See, I know I've heard his name last year, but I don't remember in what context.
I think he may have got hurt later on in the season because he was a guy that I have tracked over the past couple of years. A guy that I like. When I say like, that can mean a million things. Just for the viewers, as Paul's looking this up, and I'm trying to add a little bit more time. But when I like somebody, it can mean I like them a lot, I like them a little bit, or hey, I just want to go get coffee with them, you know? Typically when I'm talking about football players, it's not about coffee. So, Corey Liuget, if I were to rank him as defensive tackle, regular like just football, he'd be in my top 3rd defensive tackles. Fantasy, I would say he's my bottom 3rd just because of his size and his lack of speed. He's really a huge bowling ball, kind of like Benny Logan.
He was placed on injured reserve. He only played 12 games last year.
All right.
That's what it was.
Look at that. I was right on the
See, I was like, I know he didn't. Yeah, I know he didn't play all year. But other than that, he'd been a pretty healthy guy. So,
Yeah.
2015, he only played 11 games, but all the rest of them have been 16s, 15s. So,
Yeah. He's
So that's
typically
pretty decent.
dependable.
Yeah.
Does this do anything for you fantasy-wise?
No.
No? Okay.
I probably have,
Boost
if I
to
have him on my
Bosa?
team, I can probably fill for 4 weeks if that's really like the guy I rely on.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think I could get a rookie and be just fine.
Defensive tackle, rookie?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I typically don't go after defensive tackle rookies,
you can get them pretty cheap.
except for the fact that I like to grow my defensive tackles organically.
Yeah.
I like to farm them, you know.
Well, I did that with Kenny Clark, so I mean, it can happen. You can easily grow your guys.
Yeah. That and the tight end position are the 2 that I like to farm.
Yeah.
I like to get late round picks and just wait on them.
Yeah. I mean, I've missed on some, though. I mean, Virgil Green.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be really good. And, I took him, I think our first year in Dynasty?
Yeah.
I think he was like one of my last picks.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to be a good tight end, but it just never came.
That
All the way
happens.
through, he's just a blocker, really.
That's why you spend those late picks on them, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can cash out and not feel hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I took the one guy I really wanted in that draft class, and then after that, I was like, I'll take one at the end.
Yeah.
Fill it out.
All right, Adam Schefter. This is hilarious. He's reporting that Michael Bennett, a defensive end for Philadelphia, was indicted on a felony charge injuring a 66-year-old paraplegic woman after shoving her trying to get to the field to watch his brother play. He faces up to 10 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Remember whenever he was talking about going after going after Alex Smith and all these other quarterbacks?
Yeah.
I think he had it out for Jerry Jones the whole time, man.
I know he turned himself in. That much I do know from what's come with that. I don't know, man. It's just really weird. And the fact they're saying they have, like, no video evidence. I mean, why would they not have video evidence at a security checkpoint? I feel like that's a really weird thing not to have.
I feel like most people would respect the 66-year-old paraplegic woman.
I guess so. I was trying to find if there's any new updates, but I don't think there has been. I don't know, man. It's just I feel like feel like he's happy with what's happening because he, as a lot of people know, he's been very vocal about stuff about the whole
SJW
Las Vegas, him being abused. But then that came out that he was never actually done the way he did, which I think is funny because they really backed him, like his coach backed him, and then they found out it was really kind of made up.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. We'll move on from that. You got anything else?
I think he pled not guilty. I think that's the only thing I could find after that.
Oh.
Of course, I mean, why would he plead guilty? It makes no sense. I don't like either one of the Bennetts anymore, to be honest with you.
Oh, bitter Packers fan. Tom Pelissero is reporting that Tom Johnson, a defensive tackle from Seattle, has been signed to a one-year deal. He doesn't mean anything fantasy-wise to me, but I think they may be done with Malik McDowell, especially with the injury and the whole accident.
I'm sad. I hope that's not what it means. I really don't.
Yeah.
I really like Malik McDowell.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny now because I think if he can get healthy and if he does get cut, then I think he can still go. I think he'll still be a productive player. I'm holding out hope on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy who should be available in mostly all leagues, I would assume.
So you mean off the free agency?
Yeah.
Malik McDowell?
Yeah.
Okay, Paul. I'm not dropping him.
I'm saying like it's going to be in like some of the smaller leagues where it's like start one leagues.
Oh, yeah.
He should be readily available, so he's a guy you can easily watch.
I thought you were talking game on the podcast.
No.
Okay. I knew we had a rule against it. I was just making sure.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even know who. Do you have him?
I own him.
Okay,
I drafted him last year, late in the 6th round, like I was telling y'all.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I was really excited to get him.
I mean, if I was his owner, then I'd probably just drop him.
You see what I'm saying, guys? Look at this.
I just did that for you.
Were you playing that the whole time?
No, I really did not remember you had him. I don't memorize everyone's roster. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
I just look for the players I want, and then I'm done.
And if you're not playing in a dynasty league, you're doing it wrong. You agree?
Since we changed to that format, yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. All right, Adam Schefter is reporting that Maurice Hurst, a defensive tackle who's a rookie, has been cleared to resume playing football.
Again, most of us should know that he was at the combine and then got diagnosed with a heart condition similar to Nick Fairley's, so he was held out. So I think this is good news. I mean, I kind of expected this news to happen. I mean, once you have, like, how many medical professionals can you go to? Like 1 billion. So I kind of expected him to get that clearance.
Yeah, and if you are interested on our thoughts of these rookies, you can check out our website. We have the subscribe button, and it's going to go ahead and link you to our premium podcast. That premium podcast is $4.99, and that gives you 12 months from the date that you purchase it. And it's going to cover every single position, every single player coming out in this draft this season. It's going to cover all the Shrine game, the Combine, the NFLPA game, and the Senior Bowl, as well as other premium podcasts throughout the season as we move towards the football season and once we're in the football season.
Exactly. We have gained a new subscriber as well, so I mean it's going to start picking up here soon.
Yeah.
Especially in the draft kit, be watching for that, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it seems like we get like couple each week, you know.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, again, the sooner you get in this information, the sooner you're going to be able to start making moves before everyone else. This is a perfect time. Most people still aren't out of their hibernation from eating too much candy at Easter. So go out, get this information, subscribe, you're already ahead, and start picking up players off waivers and make your league mates go, what the hell is he doing?
Yep.
What you're going to be doing is winning. You can win championships in the offseason.
Yep. Or at least defending your title. Adam Schefter is reporting that Jason Pierre-Paul, a defensive end from Tampa Bay, was traded for a third-round pick, and fourth rounds were swapped with Tampa Bay and the New York Giants.
Really? When did this happen?
This happened about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Did he give him a 5-finger discount?
Yeah. No. 1-digit discount, though.
Classic.
They knocked off a 0. So, Jason Pierre-Paul to Tampa Bay's defensive line. I think this defensive line just gets better. That front seven looks pretty dirty. I'm excited to see how his play can kind of free up Beckwith. And, you know, especially being that strong side linebacker, you know.
Yeah, I think their defensive line's getting a little more explosive.
Yeah. Jeez, Paul.
What?
It was a play on words. I got it.
Oh, okay. Nice.
All right. Mike Kliss is reporting that Clinton McDonald, a former Tampa Bay defensive tackle, has signed with the Denver Broncos, and they had picked him up after the Buccaneers released him. Thoughts on this? He'll be spelling Pecco.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean,
I liked him in Tampa Bay. I
didn't mind him Tampa Bay. I think it's a little bit different of a beast in Denver.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's a lot of similarities in their defenses.
Yeah. I don't know if I give him a huge bump or a huge knockdown. I'd see him kind of where he was. Again, last year he didn't play, I don't think, a full season.
No, he did not.
So you may get him at a discount going into next season. He may be one of our sleepers.
Mm-hmm.
Field Yates is reporting that Jonathan Hankins, a defensive tackle for the free agents, will visit the Lions this week. Nothing has come of that. It's now Wednesday. So we'll see what happens with that. Not really fantasy relevant.
No, not really.
All right, Field Yates is reporting that Benny Logan, a defensive tackle for the free agents, has visited the Seahawks. We have not seen anything with that. We saw Tom Johnson get signed after that. So we'll still see what's going on in the weeks to come. The Associated Press is reporting that Brandon Williams, a nose tackle for Baltimore, has a disorder that progressively thins the lining of his cornea, and he could end up gaining blindness. Your thoughts on that, Paul?
Wow. I didn't know that. I mean, I hadn't seen that. That's sad. That sucks. It really does.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, a nose tackle could probably be blind and still be a good nose tackle.
Yeah.
They just got to move bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk him out there, put his hands in the ground, go up.
Well, you watch some of this rookie tape, you know, you'd think half of them are blind anyways.
No, that's true. Some of them are blind.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that sucks. I mean, you never want to see a guy start losing his sight because, I mean, that's just a horrible thing to have to lose.
Yeah.
It's about as bad as losing your memory, honestly.
I would say it's a little bit better than losing your memory, you know?
I don't know, man.
Would you rather
Wouldn't that suck not knowing your kid's name, though?
Yeah.
Like, at least if you're blind, you still know who your kids are by their voices, you know?
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know, man.
I'd rather be blind than lose my memory.
Yeah. I mean, I would, too. I mean, I wouldn't want to lose either one, hopefully. But, yeah, it's just, I've seen the way memory stuff like Alzheimer's and stuff affect people. It's rough.
Yeah.
So, hopefully this can be, something can be done with it. I don't know exactly what would be done with it.
Yeah, they said that if it's left untreated, then it could lead to blindness.
Oh, so it's treatable.
I think
so.
It's degenerative. So I think that you can slow the process of him losing his eyes.
Wow.
But I don't think you can just hold it off.
Well, we'll hope for the best. Hopefully there's something that can help it.
All right. PF Talk is reporting that Dominique Easley, a defensive tackle for the LA Rams, has been re-signed. Another stud that's going to be spelling Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald. Fantasy-wise, I feel like he loses out with the signing of Sue.
Fair.
Like, wouldn't you be playing Sue over him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Donald, too?
Yeah.
I know, that was a layup. So, Dominic Easley, you can pretty much drop him or trade him if somebody is interested in him.
Yeah.
I do not own him. Sorry, Paul.
Okay.
Jenna Lane is reporting that Vinny Curry, a defensive end from Tampa Bay, has been signed to a 3-year contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Vinny Curry, coming from the Philadelphia Eagles in their Super Bowl last season, provides another defensive end that can bolster this defensive line. That front seven just gets stronger, man. You know?
Well, they need to. I mean, honestly, they haven't had a super pass rush, but they've had hurt linebackers, so that accounts for a lot of that.
Yeah,
is their studs in the middle of the field were gone.
Yeah,
most of the year, 90% of the year.
Speaking of hurt, do you think PEDs lead to injuries?
I think so.
Okay.
I've always thought people who get off steroids look worse than people who are on steroids.
Yeah.
You know, it just does because it takes a toll on your body, and then your body takes a long time to recover from that stuff.
And I asked this question because Quan Alexander has been in trouble twice with PEDs. Got hurt last season. I believe he's played every single game other than that. But them bringing these defensive linemen in is going to take up and soak up most of the blockers so these guys can knife in and make more tackles.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I think these linebackers get better. I think Beckwith is now rosterable in like a 10-team league. Mm-hmm. You got like 40 rosters.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about the
40.
PED stuff, I mean, just look at Brian Cushing.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
he was one who, didn't he miss time with PED stuff, and then he's been hurt ever since then?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I feel like that has to have an effect because, I mean, you want to go back in history, look at Manwich, that massive guy who came out in Green Bay drafted like number 2, and that dude found out he was all roided up and then turned into basically garbage after he stopped using them.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. You know, again, that was like the 80s, so probably a little bit stronger stuff back then. But
and when Paul said Manwich, I just looked at him. I was like, bro.
I think his name was Tony Manwich was his name. I mean, he played for the Colts for a while.
You're pulling that up from the grave, man. You're like, Tony Manwich.
That's one of the guys, because Green Bay passed on Barry Sanders in that draft for Manwich. I mean, look how stuff could have changed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the guy who I think of when I think PEDs. That's a guy. If you've never seen it, man, you should watch The Incredible Bulk. That's what I think there's a documentary they even did about it.
Should I watch it before I lift?
Maybe. Depends on what you're doing before you lift.
Getting that pre-workout in, man.
Hopefully it's not that needle workout, bruh.
All right. Adam Schefter is reporting that Sheldon Richardson, a defensive tackle from Minnesota, has been signed to a 1-year deal. Thoughts?
I don't know.
The rich get richer.
Is Minnesota going to lose somebody? That's the question.
Yeah.
Is Minnesota going to lose the one free agent they haven't signed? What, isn't Joseph still a free agent?
Oh, Limbo?
Yeah.
He may be.
I'm pretty sure he hasn't signed yet.
Up on the blotter.
I mean, I saw an April Fool's joke about it. But
sorry. Paul and I looked at each other like, what are you talking about?
I work with a guy who's a Minnesota fan, so he keeps me updated on that stuff. And that's what I asked him. I was like, so what do you think about Sheldon Richardson? He's like, well, I think it's good. He's like, but I don't know if we're going to get Joseph back or not. He's like, I haven't seen these re-signed.
Yeah.
So they may think that he's not going to come back.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, next year, Minnesota's going to have some decisions to make with their roster, unless
with the cap.
Who are they going to sign?
Yeah.
You know, they may lose both their linebackers, or at least one for sure.
Yeah.
Because their defensive line is also going to have some guys to pay. So what happens when you put together a great defense? You know, They paid Rhodes all that money, and Harrison's still getting paid. So they're going to have to find some tricky money somewhere.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying, you know, a couple years, Minnesota's probably going to be back to being middle average, unless Kirk Cousins can set it on fire this year.
Which he will, because he's on my fantasy team, and we're going to the championship. Sorry, I was going back to the whole everybody's an MVP. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
All right. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Aaron Lynch, a defensive end from Chicago, has been signed to a 1-year contract. This does nothing for me.
Nope, nothing. Move on.
I just had to bring it up. Kimberly Martin is reporting that Dontari Poe, defensive tackle for Carolina Panthers, has been signed to a 3-year deal. Are you picking him up?
I mean, I don't mind that being in Carolina. That replaces. Did Starr re-sign with them?
I believe Starr left.
Okay, I can't remember for sure, but if that's the case, that's a good fill. I mean, I like Dontari Poe.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy, and he loves the Cheesecake Factory in Kansas City, just for people who want a little trivia.
How the hell do you know that?
It's because a couple of buddies of mine from Kansas City, they've met him at the Cheesecake Factory multiple times.
Wow.
So he really loves that place.
Look at that reporting. Goodbye, Kimberly Martin.
I'm all about in-depth stuff, baby.
Hello, Paul Burnson. Josina Anderson is reporting that Adrian Claiborne, defensive end, has been signed to the New England Patriots. Your thoughts on another Atlanta Falcon defensive line?
Well, I mean, I think he could produce. I just don't think it'll be the same numbers as in Atlanta.
Adrian Claiborne, I think he was playing for a contract, and I know we both talked about that throughout the season.
He had some good games, though. That 6-sack game was amazing.
Against the Cowboys.
That was ridiculous.
Wasn't that against the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Of all teams?
Yeah, it was ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Okay, let's turn this on its top. What do you think about the Atlanta Falcons losing Poe and Claiborne, and then signing Brooks Reed back?
Yeah, I don't understand bringing Brooks Reed back personally. I think that they're maybe looking for someone I would assume in the draft.
Yeah.
So the thing with Quinn.
Dan Quinn.
Yeah, Quinn has been really good at building defenses from nothing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like...
Who's that come from, though?
Seattle.
Exactly.
That comes from his time there. That's why Seattle's falling apart defensively, in case no one's really paying attention to that. But I feel like he's one of those guys who can take and find players he knows are going to work and put them in. Because really on the defensive line, what you're going to be worrying about now is the guy who's returning finally to defensive end, Vic Beasley.
Yeah.
So
and Tack McKinley.
I feel like with the middle of the line, they can just plug a couple guys in there and be just fine.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they need superstars. I mean, Claiborne was nice. That would have been a nice stay for them.
Yeah.
But I think they can replace a guy like Poe. I think it's doable.
Yeah, and we talk about the whole Carl Lawson thing being obvious, them saying, hey, this is what our plans are. And their plans aren't necessarily as relevant as what we are seeing because they let go of these two defensive linemen. And then they also say that they're going to take Vic Beasley and move him to defensive end. Sorry, I had a brain fart. They're going to move him to defensive end. And they didn't really tell us like the impact or the decisions they wanted to make with him. But when the writing's on the wall, you've got two defensive linemen leaving. This shows a high commitment to Vic Beasley and his return back to the edge rush.
Yeah, and Tack McKinley. I think it puts them two in together.
Yeah.
I think Tack's going to be another guy who takes a big step on year two.
Yeah. So, Vic Beasley, are you selling the farm to get him?
No. I tried to get him last year before that, something like that.
Yeah.
Back when he had those big numbers, and I was okay that I didn't get him.
Yeah.
So,
Would you go back after him now?
Probably not. I'd take chances on rookie. At this point in the season, I'm just going to rookie draft and see what I get.
Okay.
If I don't get what I want, if I want to get a higher up defensive end, because there's about 5 that are really good, I think.
You thinking about like Marcus Davenport type?
I mean, yeah, Marcus Davenport's not bad. I mean, I think there's 5 guys that we talked about in our podcast for our subscribers that just fit in there and that you can end up playing. Because, again, defensive line, I feel like you can supplement a lot and you can find guys that are going to plug in and get okay points. Because you're not going to really destroy people necessarily at the defensive end spot unless you got, the outside linebacker hybrids.
Yeah.
All right, moving into the linebackers. Kent Summers is reporting that Marcus Golden, outside linebacker from Arizona, has begun running after destroying his ACL last year. Thoughts?
Well, he's not a defensive end. I just wanted to put that out there.
Did I say defensive end?
There may be somebody. No, you didn't.
Oh, thank God.
There may be somebody out there listening. Just to quickly go over this and mention something that we like to do in our league. That others may enjoy if their commissioner likes to do stuff like this. So in our league, we allowed people to make positional changes, and then it went up for a vote. One of the things that went up for a vote was Marcus Golden going to defensive end. And the logic behind this was he's a pass rusher.
Yeah.
And a defensive end is not necessarily just a pass rusher. So your outside defensive ends on a 3-4 should not be considered defensive ends. So, getting back to this, him destroying his ACL, and the reason why I immediately went to that is because anytime I hear about Marcus Golden, we all have these commitments with the people in our league, the people that we see on a daily basis, and we're always taken back to these moments whenever names spark this idea of the people that they're associated with in our own minds. So, getting back to Marcus Golden.
I feel like we're getting really philosophical today. I like it.
Am I? Marcus Golden is one of those players that I kind of started really liking because I like his speed. I just love this Arizona defense. They like to attack you multiple different ways. It creates an opportunity for these outside linebackers like Marcus Golden to kind of play like a defensive end or an attacking outside linebacker. And with him coming back, I may sell a lot to just try and move up and get him. Your thoughts?
If that's what you want to do, I mean, do what your heart tells you to do.
Yeah.
It's just fantasy at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, we're just trading people's talents back and forth. That's really all we're doing. We're trying to get the most we can out of it. Mark Garofalo, I hate his last name. It's hard to say.
Ooh, where have we seen this name before?
Right. Paul Warlow, linebacker for Philadelphia, was signed with a 1-year deal. Yay. I mean, it's just depth. I mean, that's just a depth move for me. I don't see much else out of that.
Yeah.
Redskins.com, Will Compton has been signed, but we didn't really, have we not got the contract?
It didn't say how long. No.
He's going to Tennessee. I think that actually helps our rotation in Tennessee. Will Compton he had his time where he was putting up points, and then now he's just kind of become a Paul Warlow-esque type person. So it's kind of fitting they follow one another.
Yeah. Really just run stuffers. That's about it. Not really going to be your coverage linebackers. So he may come out in nickel situations. They have this young kid, I believe his name is Blair Brown, coming out of UCLA. I wasn't high on him. I know a lot of people in the industry, like IDP with B and Tom Degenerate, are both really big on him. I'm not big on Blair Brown, but with the absence of Avery Williamson, the guy that I expected to make all the tackles last year, instead of Wesley Woodyard, I think he becomes the guy that is more fantasy relevant, not necessarily because of talent, but because of opportunity. Wesley Woodyard is getting long in the tooth, and I always preach get away from these old guys, especially in a dynasty format. Always keep your roster young, because at the end of the day, you got a Tevin Coleman runner on the outside, and you got to stop him. Are you going to be depending on Wesley Woodyard to do that week to week, to tackle the Alvin Kamaras, the Sony Michels, these types of running backs, and wide receivers like Tavon Austin? Or are you going to be looking for the Blair Brown that has the athletic gifts that you see a lot of these younger linebackers possessing? So I'm not a big fan of Blair Brown, but he's one of those guys that, because of the times, I'm going to move towards him if I'm looking to add somebody cheap.
Cool. Right with you, man. I mean, I liked your tenure. I mean, it made a lot of sense, especially for Tennessee. I mean, those are really valid points for their linebacking core. I think they still have Arakpo, don't they? Or did he go somewhere else?
Ooh,
I forgot.
Arakpo, I believe, is still there.
I still remember his Geico commercials. They were hilarious.
I always get Arakpo and Okafor mixed up. I don't know why. I don't. It's the last names, man. It's the OK or O-R-A-K.
I just remember Okafor just for the Geico commercials with the caveman. Those are some of my favorite commercials. Those are funny.
Yeah.
ESPN.com reports that Bartavius Mingo, now a linebacker for Seattle, is expected to play strong side linebacker for the Seahawks. You're a guy who's owned Mingo, correct?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
F no. Especially as a strong side linebacker. I think this only makes Bobby Wagner stronger, It's like it's like they're feeding him all this energy of terrible linebackers, and they're like, all right, Bobby Wagner, we're going to feed you. And then he just grows and evolves, and then he grows and evolves again.
That's actually a really good analogy.
He's like a Power Ranger out here, man.
Just like see the other linebackers just warping away. And they just look like old men sitting on the sideline. That's hilarious. Feed me their souls.
Around the NFL is reporting that Fontaze Burfict, linebacker from Cincinnati, was reassured that the team had no intention of moving on from him.
Come on, move on, man. Dang. Just move on. Let him go to the damn Steelers.
I'm going to make a proposition that he doesn't leave.
Proposition or proclamation?
Proposition.
Okay.
That he doesn't leave until Marvin Lewis leaves. And that could be any time.
I hope it's after like week 4 when they go on 4 to start the season.
For real, how do you value players like this, Paul? Players that are, one, always hurt, always injured, or the like, or always suspended.
I'm surprised he's honestly made it this far,
yeah.
To be completely honest with you. I tuned in to watch him play the Steelers, though. I mean, it makes me want to watch those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I knew something super shady is going to happen in this game.
Yeah.
I would love to see him go play for the Steelers. I think that would be the highest of, like, just craziness that could happen.
Yeah. That's like Marcus Allen going to the Chiefs, man.
Yes, exactly. They were actually talking about him the other night on NFL Network.
I know.
Football Life. Did you watch that?
Yep.
Yeah, I watched the same one.
It's crazy how these little things like end up reoccurring and they just get echoed throughout our podcast. I'm sure somebody else is going to be thinking about it and have a conversation about him later just because of this podcast.
Right?
It's insane.
I mean, just imagine him in a Steelers uniform just brings happiness and just makes me laugh, man.
Yeah.
Because I would just love to see him have to play with those guys that he's put on, like, coasters.
All right. Let's not get too off topic, but let's delve into this because this is something that has pissed me off for a while. All right, so you have the Steelers looking for a linebacker. How many freaking linebackers are they going to go out and draft in the first or second round? I know this has been the thing that they've done forever. You've got the Baltimore Ravens who are slated to take a tight end. I think they've got enough tight ends. This is what, 8? 9? How many in the first round? You don't need a tight end.
Oh my God, I love this side of Buck. This is what we've all been waiting for. Like the look on his face is just pure passion about this topic. I love this.
I was thinking about that when I was running today. I was like, "What the hell does Mel Kiper have them getting a tight end? How many teams will just straight up and go after the same position year after year after year?" Like Browns with the quarterback. Why do they do this? Why do you waste these top picks?
It's like going to the gas station and you keep buying scratch tickets and you think this one's going to hit. This one's going to hit. This one's $1, even money. And so you keep buying them because that $1 that won you one game just keeps you going. You're like, all right, maybe I can scratch it again and get another one. Huh? Oh, no, just scratch another one. It's like when Ted Thompson would always take risks on guys who were either injured their senior year or were playing different positions or different sports before they got in.
Yeah.
How many times have we taken cornerbacks in the first round in the last 5 years?
Exactly. I saw the Packers getting Desmond King. I'm like, the Packers taking a cornerback again.
Well,
why?
Not Desmond King.
That's what they're. Shit.
Yeah, Desmond.
Joshua King.
Yeah.
No. I'm all
Josh
over
Jackson.
the place.
I know
Josh Jackson.
You got wrapped up. I do the same thing.
Yeah. I was thinking same team, different year.
I've seen ones where we were taking Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't need that right now. Stick with what we have.
Yeah.
Get something else, a different position. We need pass rushers.
So, digging into this, whenever you're building a team, if you miss out, just think about your fantasy team. Let's not think about a pro team. So, if you miss out and say tight end, are you going to take a later round draft pick to try and shore up that tight end and then take that marginal little leap where there's a lot less risk and you know how the player is going to perform, or you at least assume that you know? And then they do perform. Are you going to take that little gain over here with this high risk over here whenever you've shown that you have an inability to really get that position, where, say, the Baltimore Ravens had a tremendous tight end, Heap. Heap was a stud forever,
Long time.
And now they keep bringing in all these guys, and they either, one, don't know how to utilize them, or two, they don't know how to evaluate them.
Yeah.
I
think it's like politics. We got to go back and look and see who the senators are and see who's in the House. Like, who's been their tight end scout for the last, 30 years? Like, maybe it's been the same guy since Heap's been there.
Yeah.
You ever thought of that? The scouting guys we don't really hear about unless you go read reports like I do where I kind of know some of the same names.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who their tight end evaluator is. It could be the same guy who's been saying the same thing about every tight end they've drafted.
But how do you get so much...
if they want a tight end, they should have gotten Chive once he got released from Oakland.
Oh, yeah. Which...
Now he's at the Jets.
Let's get into it. All right.
This is how the news goes.
He's with the Chiefs?
No, Jets. He went to the Jets.
Okay. Clyde Walford, a kid that I think the Raiders stretched on. They drafted him in the first round, second round?
I think
first round. It was the first round, the year before Carl's Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
So they pick him up, and tight ends, we know this because we play fantasy, usually take a couple of years to develop. You don't have any other talent. You ship Michael Rivera away, and then you bring in Jared Cook. Okay, the guy has not developed. He's a first-round talent. You need to create progress with this guy, and if you're not creating this progress, you need to try and trade him because there's probably a team that was interested in him. Especially being a first-round draft pick. Mm-hmm. A la the New England Patriots love getting guys at a discount.
Mm-hmm.
So giving up on a player this early, especially whenever you could just take the fifth-round option and pay him the same price, why not?
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a very good question.
Unfortunately, my Oakland Raiders, bringing this full circle, have a lot of the same problems that it looks like Paul's Packers have, just in a different vein.
For how many cornerbacks we've drafted, we should have the biggest stable of cornerbacks in the NFL.
Oh, real quick, I do want to make a correction. Earlier, I was calling Blair Brown. That is Jayon Brown. Blair Brown plays for Tennessee Titans. No. Frank. I believe the Colts, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I think you're right. That sounds correct.
But he's the next news nugget that we've got. Go ahead and take it, Paul.
All right. ESPN reports. See, we're getting back to the news, people. Just bear with us. ESPN reports that Jayon Brown is expected to have an expanded role this season with the Tennessee Titans. Who is that lady?
So Blair Brown is also a famous woman. Let's look up Blair Brown NFL. So talk on that, Paul.
Again, Tennessee, I feel like, has needed some more. I mean, I think this is exactly what we're talking about with Lawson.
Yeah.
How?
Do you buy into it?
I'm waiting and seeing.
Yeah.
I'm not making life-altering changes to my team.
All right, second
I have
correction.
a very, very delicate ecosystem.
Blair Brown plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we can confirm that. Jayon Brown, again, I said a guy that I was not impressed with. I would still go out and get him. You're going to be buying him at a discount, and I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Not necessarily set skill-wise, unless he has done something in the offseason that has made him more valuable. ESPN.com is reporting that Corey Littleton, a linebacker for the LA Rams, will compete with Ramik Wilson, and the Rams believe they are set at the position going into the draft. Are you taking Corey Littleton or Ramik Wilson? Gun is to your head, loaded and ready to go.
Ramik Wilson.
Boom. Wrong answer. No, it was always going to be the wrong answer. I am taking Ramik Wilson as well. Corey Littleton is, what would you consider him, a special teamer? That's Paul. Or how would you describe him? He was a guy that we were high on at the end of last season.
Yeah.
But are you going to look at him as a journeyman? Or are you going to look at him as just a special teams ace?
It's hard, man. I like Ramik Wilson. I thought he had really good stints.
Yeah.
I think I think there's a lot of this is in competition.
Yeah.
So, you know, when they tell me the Rams believe they're set, I feel like they're set in having competition.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to have to battle this out. Because again, they're gonna draft somebody at linebacker position. I guarantee you they're gonna draft.
You
a
would
linebacker.
hope. You would hope.
Guaranteed. I mean, guaranteed they draft a linebacker. Like, I've never been so sure of anything in my life that they're gonna draft one, if not two.
You want to make beer bets, Paul?
I'll make a beer bet on that because either way I'm gonna be drinking, so it's fine with me.
True.
Because I'll buy enough to make sure I have some for myself, even if I lose the bet. So we're good. Nothing bad with competition.
Would you
man.
be surprised if Corey Littleton won this? Is it that close for you?
No, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked either way, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're talking about guys who I probably won't roster, and a lot of people probably won't roster unless they really see something amazing in training camp.
Did you like Rameek at the Chiefs?
I don't like Chiefs linebackers. I've said this for years.
Do you like Georgia linebackers?
Sometimes. Depends. I mean, you have good ones and bad ones, but that's with every team.
Yeah.
Some guys you like, some guys you don't like.
I would take Rameek Wilson out to coffee. All right, MMQB is reporting that Jadeveon Clowney, linebacker for Houston, is expected to make a mega extension to his contract this year. Thoughts? I don't think he's earned it.
Really?
I don't. Like, there's a lot there that we're like, yes, he will earn it. But I don't think with his injury history and his lack of production on the field, I don't think he's earned it.
I don't know. I feel like he's going to be the heir apparent. I know that says a lot because I think J.J. Watt still has another like 4 years, but how many of those years are going to be healthy?
Or productive.
Yeah. I would say healthy before productive, but yes. I don't know how much we're going to get out of J.J. Watt anymore. I'm one of those guys who's now on the fence with J.J. Watt, and I know I'm probably one of the first ones on the fence. But
I think people have been on the fence, Paul.
Well, I'm more on the fence as I don't think he's going to get back to elite.
Yeah.
I feel like the injuries have taken a toll. He's been hurt 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about winning the defensive MVP that just screws with people.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's a great
Ooh, is that
person.
bad karma to Donald?
Maybe. Never know. Defensive MVPs usually have something happen. I feel like it happens with MVPs too, but that's because also MVPs are a different category. I mean, you look what happened to AP when he won the MVP. Or Cam. You know, Rodgers has had injuries after he's won MVPs. Brady's had the same thing. Not as much on Brady. I think he had that 1 year where he snapped his knee and that was it.
Interesting finding.
So, I think he'll earn it just for the fact if he plays. Again, I feel like he's going to finish number 2, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
If he finishes number 2, I think he may get it. I just don't know. I mean, because they're young everywhere else. That's the thing. They don't have a $100 million quarterback yet, or a quarterback that's earned $100 million.
Yeah, he will.
So
those knees will earn it.
If they draft one of the wide receivers in this class to match up with their second-year starter quarterback, I think it'd be pretty fun. But
yeah, him, Fuller, Hopkins, that'd be dirty.
I want them to add a rookie this year, the wide receiver who he used to play with. So we'll get into that in our premium podcast.
Talking about Ray?
No, not Ray.
You like the other guy?
Yeah, more than Ray.
Ooh.
How much has Ray done in the last few years? I'm telling you, Ray down on my list compared to the other guy.
Let's pull the curtain back.
I mean, there's two of them, and I think one will be a better fit because he really had the better years with Watson.
Okay.
And why not? You can get him cheap.
All right.
Probably get him for a 5th-round pick.
All right. I would rather take the second-year player playing for the L.A. Chargers.
Okay.
That being said, San Jose Mercury News is reporting that Reuben Foster, a linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, remains in, quote, good standings with the team. He has been arrested twice this offseason, and everything must be case by case. Foster could face suspension even if he avoids charges.
Case by case,
Thoughts,
day
Paul?
by day. I was looking at the new updated 2.0 mock draft. I was curious because we were talking about how they always slate them. Well, now they have us taking Mike Hughes.
Yeah.
So just talking about, and they still have the Raiders taking a linebacker. Hey, I'm a Reuben Foster owner. I'm gonna stick with him until I'm proven wrong.
All right, so Paul, I hear you say a lot that you don't like having guys that get arrested and stuff like this.
Oh, don't worry. I'm near the end, man. But
You're near
my
the
thing
end on
is
Foster?
he's one of the guys who I expect to be an elite linebacker.
Yeah.
And I can't just, like, get rid of him. I'm not going to ditch someone.
All right.
Like, Hardy, he's a guy, like Greg Hardy.
Yeah.
He was a guy who, one, I didn't think had the fantasy production, and two, I don't like. So I'm not going to add someone.
All right. Here's a big question.
Big question.
Looking strategy. Okay, there's a guy that you absolutely love, Reuben Foster. Guy I absolutely love, Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier was always hurt. Reuben Foster looks like he's creating a resume for the legal system. Does it scare you? Is there a point where you're like, hey, I need to sell to get maximum value before this gets out of hand?
Oh, yeah. I'm always scared, but I'm always scared that everyone on my team's going to get hurt, too. I mean,
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the legal stuff, I knew he was going to be one of those guys who you're taking a risk on. And that was coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
You just had the incident in the combine.
Yeah.
That was one in itself. So, I mean, I knew going into it, put the GM hat on for a second. I knew going in that there were going to be red flags, but I also knew that the production was going to be very big because there was no other linebackers in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean, if San Francisco makes a play for linebacker in the first round this year, there might be a different, might be a change in the guard, but I still think John Lynch will stick up for a guy until he absolutely can't.
All right, if you're the 49ers, if you get an inside linebacker, are you worried?
Mm-mm.
Outside linebacker, are you worried?
Mm-mm.
So you're not worried at all?
I'm still not worried. Like, I'm not worried about the production on the field. Unless he gets into some other trouble this offseason where it's like 2 strikes in the same offseason, then sure.
If I can pull a first, a second, or a third, or a combination of all these, I am selling Reuben Foster.
Do you want Reuben Foster?
No, I
you
don't.
have 3 first-round picks. Just give me them all, and I'll give you Reuben Foster.
No, I do not want Reuben Foster.
I have to stick with him, man.
He's no OBJ, man.
I guess. I'm fine without having him, too.
But, like you said, let's touch on that. You said you're stuck with him. If you can get value or get an opportunity to go up and get more value, maybe a lesser player, maybe a pick as well, are you going to go ahead and try to do that?
Who says I haven't tried?
You have been trying?
I mean, in our league, you can't make any deals unless Buck gets 5 draft picks out of it. Like, even if it's between 2 players, Buck has to get his feed. It's like showing off
It's
picks.
a troll tax.
Exactly. Exactly.
I just come out.
Answer me these riddles 3. So, I mean, it's the same. Like, again, I've talked about a whole bunch of different guys in trade scenarios, but I think my perceived value is a little bit higher on Reuben Foster in particular
Than what others are willing to pay.
Yeah, and I think what others see the same news reports that I see.
Yeah.
So they're going to know too.
And they're trying to buy him at a discount.
Yeah, they're thinking, oh, well, since he has this case, I mean, that's got to be at least a 4th-round pick. You know what I mean?
I'm assuming David's hit you up.
What?
He's like, we can't talk about this.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't really talk to anyone in our league because I'm not friends with them, besides like 3 of them that I actually talk to. Most of them I don't know.
Yeah.
That's I don't know
because we don't together, man.
Because we don't hang out. Some of them are in different places, and the other ones. I mean, I haven't seen Justin and CJ, even though she's not in our league anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them since we were doing redrafts.
Yeah.
And that was out of your parents' house a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time. And you just don't see those people.
Yeah.
But it happens. That's what happens with league mates. That's why it's a lot easier for people to get on a website like ours. Because, they don't have to tell their league mates because they may not see them. They may not ever know they have that website like ours. And
that's the beauty of it all, because you can connect with all these people all around the United States or the world at sometimes with some of our league mates. And then you got some guys in your league that just go straight dark, like Daniel Forsythe. We had to replace him, and thank God we did. We found a great league owner, PK.
Okay, I wouldn't say great. He's all right.
He's at Amaze652 on Twitter. Really active dude. I really love the dude.
He's all right. He sucks at zombies.
I really like PK.
He's like a toddler when he comes to playing zombies. You're like, all right, man, come over here. We got you. But yeah, PK's a great guy, man.
Yeah.
I like talking football with him. It's fun.
Yeah.
I've been annoying him on GroupMe. It's been fun. Because he knows who I want, and he keeps trying to sell me someone else, and I'm like, no, that's not who I'm talking about. I mean, he's the guy who always says no one trades in this league. I've been trying to make trades all off season.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not done. I feel like I'm still going to get what I want eventually. So, all right, going back to the news. Hey, we're getting through the news here.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're getting through. All right, the Charlotte Observer, Luke Kuechly, will sit out the offseason program as he recovers from a torn labrum.
He had surgery. Much to do about nothing, or what?
As long as it's not a concussion, it's okay.
Jeez, Paul.
What? If it was a concussion, I'd be more worried because that'd be like 1,200 concussions he's had since he entered the league.
Yeah.
That'd be like, what, at least concussion number 5?
I'm pretty sure it is. If he had another one, it would be the 3rd. He had 2.
I think he's had more than that.
I think he's had 2.
How many do you think he's reported?
He's reported 2.
My thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's missed time with concussions.
Again, there's no way you become Defensive Player of the Year without failing to report something.
That's true.
You know, it's a game about toughness. Speaking of toughness and trying not to report things, Paul Gutierrez is reporting that Navarro Bowman, a linebacker playing for the free agents, is still a target for the Raiders this offseason. He has yet to make a formal visit with another team.
He's old. It takes him time to get places.
Yep. Reggie McKenzie. Yeah, we're checking in on those knees.
That was a ring, not a cat purr, just in case anyone know. But I like Navarro Bowman. I still like him. I'm living off the heydays of the yesteryears. Is that your Navarro
John
Bowman
Gruden.
face?
No,
John
John
Gruden
Gruden.
face? Nice. Surprised John Gruden hadn't gotten rid of more people.
Right.
What is up with the Marcus King, man? We haven't even been able to talk about that. What is up with that?
So what they did was they tried to get rid of him because he was going to be, $7 million this year?
Stupid.
Yeah.
He's a good-ass punter, man.
J.K. Scott from Alabama. All right.
I just like Marcus King, man. I just like him as a player.
I like
man.
this player, man. That
I
dude
do
would just
too.
come out and dance.
He'd get after Kelsey, man. That's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Go get after Kelsey. That's a good rivalry right there.
Yeah.
A punter versus a tight end.
Imagine, just think about chess. You take your punter out there, you get him to rile up the tight end on the other side, both of them are gone. You know? Mm-hmm. That's a pawn for a damn bishop. You know? You won.
Exactly.
But, when you got Michael Crabtree and Aqib Talib, that's losing 2 rooks, man. The Redskins.com is reporting that Pernell McPhee, a linebacker, defensive end, for Washington has been signed.
Got to replace Compton.
Yeah. He plays more outside. What are your thoughts on McPhee as an edge rusher? Yeah, same. Did you like him in Chicago?
He wasn't bad. But, he never stepped up and was the guy.
Yeah. Dave Burkett is reporting that Jonathan Freeney, linebacker for Detroit, has signed with the Lions.
Is that the old guy?
I'm
thinking Dwight Freeney. Okay, my bad. I was thinking Dwight Freeney.
But we see that often, though, like these young guys that have the same name. I believe Jonathan is a little bit older. He reminds me a lot of John Bostic. Yeah,
we're going to talk about in our premium podcast, which again you subscribe to and listen to with our wide receivers. One of the wide receivers in there is related to a guy who's already in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And we've already talked about his brother on one of the other sites, or one of our other podcasts with safeties. So getting 2 family members is going to make all 3 in the NFL this year.
Look at those connections, Paul.
Decent.
All right, the Charlotte Observer is reporting that Shaq Thompson, linebacker for Carolina, was extended using the 5th-year option. The team expects to make him part of the plan as Thomas Davis is in his last year.
Love it.
You buying Shaq Thompson?
I love Shaq Thompson, man.
What are you buying him for?
Case of beer.
Damn. Do you love him?
I do like Shaq Thompson, man.
Would you marry him?
I don't know why you wouldn't. Thomas Davis is getting old, man, and he's always been the heir apparent there.
All right.
You've seen it for years.
10 rounds, 10 people. What round? What pick?
4th round?
4th round. Early 4th, mid 4th, late 4th.
I go mid 4th.
Damn, I don't know if you can get. Well, you typically don't draft your IDP guys in a league.
I'm assuming we're talking dynasty though.
Yeah, dynasty.
Okay.
The first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guy has played a little bit. He's going to have a little bit more knowledge of what's going on with that defense and the way they're going to scheme him. I think that drops him around. I would take him down to the third or second.
And I guarantee you in a draft, some other person would take Thomas Davis above him and be an idiot. Like, honestly, because there would be the guys who go on the name recognition.
Yeah.
And you know those players that do that. So they're going to be like, oh, Thomas Davis, man, he plays right next to Luke Kuechly. I'm going to pencil him in right here. And then, boom, Shaq Thompson drops another spot because they kind of forgot about him.
Well, Paul, if you know any of those guys, let me know. I'm going to make a private league with just those guys and then take their money.
I think that's what Buck did in the original when he started this.
I just bop them on the head. So I would offer a mid-second round for him, honestly.
Yeah.
That's about the value I see for him.
That's fine. Again, I'm thinking I'm going to get a bargain in a dynasty with how many players are in a dynasty.
Yeah.
You know, how many players are going to go above him in the linebacker position. I feel like I could get him in a fourth.
And I think that's something that we should do like an IDP startup mock draft.
Oh, good. It's about mock draft season. You know, mock drafts are like imaginary checks.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get paid, but it feels fun to spend the money.
We got Mark Kabley reporting that Bud Dupree, linebacker for Pittsburgh, is still up for debate if the Steelers are going to use the fifth year option on him.
You're more the Steelers person. I mean, I feel like they're going to have to.
Bud Dupree is primarily a pass rusher. We've seen him play a little bit more in coverage.
Unless they have a lot of faith in JJ or TJ.
TJ. I think TJ Watt is going to win that out. You got TJ. Who's the guy on the other side?
How much will the fifth-year option even be?
It would be the same. It just extends the contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a big price you're going to be paying for it.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think this does kind of show their hands on what they're wanting to do with the linebackers.
Well, yeah, they're hoping somehow they get spinal fluid from Ryan Shazier and clone him and make two of them so they can have two Ryan Shaziers, one with hair, one without hair.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
It'd be like the Deion Sanders when he puts on the wig and he's Leon.
San Francisco Chronicles reporting that Alden Smith, a linebacker for the free agents, was arrested after violating a restraining order from an alleged domestic violence incident. Let's break that down. Was arrested for violating a restraining order from an alleged domestic violence incident. So nothing has technically happened, and he is not technically responsible for any of this. But let's view him on the free agents. Are you going to be moving him? Are you going to be adding him or dropping him?
I mean, I think he's going to be a starter for the free agents all year.
I think so,
He's
too.
going to be pencil him in as linebacker right now.
Yep.
Starter in the free agents.
We need to make a free agents team.
It's kind of like last year. Did you never see my picture of the injured reserve team from last year? It was a sick team, man.
Really?
It was a badass team. Like, they could have won some championships with that team. It was nasty.
You got Tim McManus reporting that Michael Kendricks, linebacker for Philadelphia, is recovering from a scope in his ankle.
How do you get a scope in his ankle? Like a periscope?
No.
Like a submarine scope?
What are those like knee scopes that they typically do just to check the ligaments, make sure everything's all right?
Oh.
That's what they did.
They didn't put mouthwash in his ankle?
I guess.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, this is another off-season procedure, man.
Yeah.
It's
I was
completely
really
fine.
hoping he'd get dropped or traded.
Why?
Fantasy-wise, like, I think this guy's an absolute stud. He's athletic.
Oh, okay.
He can rush the
I
passer,
got you.
but they're not using him.
Yeah.
Chiefs.com is reporting that Ramik Wilson, linebacker for the LA Rams, has been signed by the LA Rams.
Yeah, which we talked about him in Littleton, so...
Adam Schefter is reporting that Marquise Flowers, linebacker for New England, has been signed to a one-year deal.
Okay.
Played for Cincinnati last year to start the season as their Sam. That's all I had to say about that. Todd Archer is reporting that Joe Thomas, the linebacker for Dallas, has signed. I assume he will be the reserve linebacker to fill Hitchens' spot.
When I see the name Joe Thomas, I can't help to think, but it's like Joe Thomas from the Browns, and he's just like put on a mustache. He's just gonna go play linebacker. No, what do you mean offensive line? I've never played that position ever in my life. He's retired. I mean,
Just get out, Cleveland.
it's like Count Olaf type of stuff. He just puts on a new disguise. No one notices.
Ooh, here's some fun ones. Raiders.com is reporting that Emmanuel Lemur linebacker from Oakland, or linebacker signed with Oakland to a 1-year deal. He was playing with the Vikings last year. Before that, he played with Cincy. He's a journeyman. Tank Carradine and Kyle Wilbur were both added. I'm assuming this is for special teams. I really hope they're not expecting to start one of these in my first
Well,
game.
Gruden's an old school coach. He wants old school players.
Field Yates is reporting that Carlos Dansby, a linebacker for the free agents, and Kevin Minter, a linebacker also for the free agents, visited the Bills. Nothing has happened yet.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter is reporting that Paul's favorite player, John Bostic, has signed as a linebacker with the Pittsburgh Steelers to a 2-year deal.
It's actually Buck's favorite linebacker, Mr. Athleticism, he calls him.
Oh, I think this guy is dog. I really do. He's one of those guys that is just a run stuffer, and you ask him to do anything else, and you get disappointed. Signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is his 5th team in 5 years. I believe he's played with the Colts. He's played with the Patriots. He's played with the Bears and the Steelers and another team that is escaping me right now.
Besides the Colts, he's played with teams that are pretty popular for having linebackers, when you think about it.
Yeah. So they see a lot here, and it doesn't usually result in production, and they usually move on from him. I am not rushing out to the waiver wire to pick up John Bostic. I actually wrote an article that's at the bottom of the articles this offseason on players that we looked back on. With him, I expected to see more because his name was popping up every once in a while and people were starting to talk about him. But, in fact, whenever I went back to look at his stats week to week, there were only 2 weeks whenever he appeared in the top 50. Depressing.
Yes.
Jets.com, shout out to PK, have acquired Kevin Pierre-Louis from the Kansas City Chiefs, who dropped him, and he was signed to a 2-year contract. Another run stuffer, special teams ace. Where does he fit in with Demario Davis leaving?
He fits in nicely, I think. I mean, I feel like they're still going to get some younger talent this year in the draft, eventually. But
yeah, in like the 4th round because they traded everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Better put a lot on Rosen. May not have a wide receiver to throw to if that string bean gets sent to jail. Idiot.
You good? You got anything on
No, I'm good.
KPL?
Good.
Are you selling KPL right now?
If I can to PK, yeah.
Just because of the opportunity?
Yeah.
Ralph Vacanio is reporting that Alec Ogletree, linebacker for the Giants, was traded to the Giants by the Rams right after they gave him a massive contract that looked like he was going to be the franchise or the face of the franchise.
That's what you thought, good sir. I like it because Ogletree's going to get some extra bonus points in New York playing linebacker. So if you already have Ogletree, you just got a little bit richer.
Yep. What's this do to the other linebackers they have there?
What linebackers?
Well, they ship most of them out.
Exactly.
They have Kelvin Shepard still.
Ooh.
And, don't sleep on him. He's going to be one of my sleepers.
So I would be sleeping on him.
No, don't sleep on him. I'm trying to wake you up, man.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Who is the other guy? Guy I traded for. And
Goodson?
What?
Goodson?
Yeah, BJ Goodson. And I regret because the dude has not been on the field.
Hey, and I got to say, I've kind of, I coursed Buck into that too, because I really liked him in training camp. I thought he looked like a stud in training camp, man. And he did early on in the season, then he just got hurt. But I feel like in New York, they're always getting hurt. I feel like that's the linebacker curse. Like, I think Lawrence Timmons, when he left, was like, I curse this team. And now they can't have linebackers.
Yeah. All right.
I
Ryan.
agree. They have not had anyone since him. Since LT, man, they haven't had
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor. Did I say Timmons again?
Yeah.
Damn it.
I was like,
Damn it. I'm sorry.
I don't remember that.
I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. Hey, I just did the whole Blair Brown up downs.
It's been 2 weeks. What do you expect from me? This is the best.
Not a whole lot. Good thing we're doing this before our
that
premium
third
podcast.
man. Our third podcast is gonna be fire.
Yep.
So
Synergy, man.
subscribe.
Ryan Talbot is reporting that Preston Brown is now a linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, God. Now I have to go add Preston Brown.
I'll tell you what. If you do have KPL, you can trade him to PK and get your Cincinnati Bengals package.
God, I just have become a fortunate person of having all these Cincinnati linebackers.
Raiders.com is reporting that Tahir Whitehead has been signed by the Raiders.
Ooh, starter.
Yep. This is why I think that they may be holding out on Navarre Bowman and going after a corner. I think that's what they should do.
How many corners are left that you?
They have one.
Want?
We lost Sean Smith, DJ Carey, and we lost David Emerson.
Oh, you're saying hold out for one. Are you talking about in free agency still?
No. I think they're holding out for Navarre Bowman, hoping that he comes back, and I think they're going to try and get Ward or Josh Jackson. And I think they take Ward if the opportunity presents itself.
Well, I guess we talked about that, about how they're projecting stuff in the mock drafts. Do you think the Raiders should trade down and still are able to get one of those two guys and an extra pick?
I don't think they should. Or trade back?
Yeah, trade back.
No.
So you don't think they can get either one of those guys if they trade down? Okay, let's say...
I think they run a risk of losing it. My thing is, I think at that point, I think it's worth getting a corner there.
At number 10?
Yep. Just because I believe that Josh Jackson and Denzel Ward are both worthy of that 10th pick.
All right, let's go. Okay, the Raiders have the 10th pick. 11th pick is the Dolphins. They're probably going to go Mayfield, I think. I think they're going to go quarterback.
I don't know if Mayfield's going to be there, man.
Man, I don't know if Mayfield's going to be anywhere. Anyway, then you have the Broncos, which they're probably not going to trade with. I mean, again, the Broncos have the 12th pick.
And
no, they only have to.
That's projected trade back. They have the 5th pick right now.
No, they traded with the Bills.
Today?
They traded like 2 weeks ago.
No.
Yes, the Bills have the 5th pick, bro.
What?
How do you not know this?
How do I not know this?
Are you in a hole?
Dude.
Like, you really not know? This isn't projected. This happened.
No.
Buck's seriously trying to fact check me, even
I
though I
am.
literally have it. Like, they traded last week or week before that.
NFL draft order.
All right, I'm betting.
Sorry, we have to stop
third,
this podcast.
I'm betting you the third beer that you brought that I'm right. I know I am.
No, look. When was this posted? On the 3rd. This is updated on the 3rd.
Dude, the Bills traded up.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did.
No, they did not. Yes, they did. Because on ESPN, when I was running, I saw that it was projected.
They're trading up, man.
They may trade
all
up.
right, so okay, then let's just put the Bills there just to make you happy.
Okay, let's.
All right, if the Bills are there, I don't think they take a corner.
I don't think the Raiders trade with the Broncos.
Washington, I don't think they take a corner. Green Bay, sure, take a corner because obviously they take all the corners. Cardinals, don't think they take a corner. Ravens, I don't know what they would pick. Probably a tight end.
I could see
Chargers, I could see the Chargers taking a corner. That's one of the ones I could see taking a cornerback. I mean, I think they could trade down, still get more equity, and be able to get one of those top 2 cornerbacks.
I would agree with you, but I don't think it's worth the risk. You trade back, and then you're stuck with a linebacker, and your needs are still cornerback.
I mean, I think the Bears take one at 8, so you're going to be down. You're going to be down to like the top 2 after that. That kid from Maryland, and then Josh Jackson, who I think are the projected top 3 in that class. I mean, I don't see Josh Jackson. I see Mike Hughes, but I think Green Bay would take Josh Jackson over Mike Hughes. But again, I feel like there'd be value if they traded down if that's what they're going with.
I don't think that's.
I mean, it'll be interesting.
Diana Rossini is reporting that Demario Davis, a linebacker formerly with the Jets, has signed with the New Orleans Saints to a 3-year deal. Thoughts?
No. I'm all right.
I don't like the freaking New Orleans Saints linebackers. You got Craig Robertson. You have Anzalone. You have Demario Davis now. Who else?
Do they still have Invisible Girlfriend?
They have Okafor. They may have Te'o too.
I know they did.
Te'o, I think Te'o is a step down from Demario Davis. I don't know, man. Like, I really liked his play last year. I think he adds a little bit of ability to cover. Demario Davis has a little bit of ability to cover. But he's not going to go all the way downfield with the running back. He's not going to go all the way down the field with the tight end.
No.
You know, it's going to be those close zones, you know.
Do they still have Klein? Or no, they had that
Klein got hurt last year.
Yeah, the white kid with the long hair.
Anzalone.
Anzalone, yeah.
So the Saints also retained Alec Okafor this offseason.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be competition, man. It's going to be dog eat dog. I mean, with Davis, I mean, you're probably guaranteed a roster spot unless something happens in training camp.
So, gun to your head, Craig Robertson, Demario Davis, Manti Te'o, inside linebackers.
Go ahead and shoot me. I'm fine with
not owning any of them.
Yeah.
All right.
I can find value somewhere else.
Go ahead and close this out, Paul. Hurry up. We got to kill this.
Okay, he says. All right, Steelers.com. Robert Golden has been signed by the Chiefs. ESPN.com. Brashad Breeland is considering a visit with the Packers.
Ooh, right?
It's whatever. Vikings.com. Terrence Newman
He plays for the
will likely sign with the Vikings, and both parties are in talks. I mean, Terrence Newman's what, 1,000 years old?
Yeah.
How many seasons he played? Like 16, 17?
Yeah,
he's old.
Yeah.
Chiefs.com.
John Joseph.
Philip Gaines was signed by the Buffalo Bills. Chicago Tribune, Kyle Fuller had a contract matched by the Bears, and that was actually a brilliant move by Green Bay. I loved it, because basically they put in the tender, and basically they had to match it, or else they were going to, one, lose it to their rival, or two, they're going to have to pay too much money for him. That's what they did. So it was a great move either way.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's one of those sneaky business moves that you don't see a lot.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter, Sua Cravens was traded from the Broncos to the Redskins. Why did I not know that?
Yep. Let's take
Bro,
some time.
I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Let's take
He's
some
going to
time.
play, baby. He's going to play.
What's your WWE song
What?
where you like to wake up to it?
Oh, Glorious. Bobby Roode. Yeah. WrestleMania this weekend, folks, just for everyone to know.
That's what I thought of whenever you're like, he's going to play, baby.
He's finally going to play.
You think so?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Bro, I'm on Sue Craven's bandwagon until it dies.
Okay.
There may only be 2 wheels on it now, but it's still moving. I didn't even know that, for real. I had no idea.
No?
That was seriously news to me.
I think that was 2 or 3 days ago.
What'd they trade him for? Bag of Skittles?
I think a 6 pick. It was practically nothing. But,
Hell yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the Redskins all last season with Tua Cravens and the heartache that they had.
Oh, yeah.
Bob Condata is reporting that Earl Thomas, a safety for the Seattle Seahawks, has been confirmed to be on the trade block.
Yeah, he's been talked about, but Earl Thomas has come out and said the only team he wants to play for besides Seattle is Dallas.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
I love that move last
honestly,
year.
I've heard so many times that they're like, oh, Green Bay should go trade for Earl Thomas. I'm like, yeah, that'd be nice, but I don't think Earl Thomas wants to play for any other teams. Like, I don't know how much you'd have to trade to get him would be the issue. Mm-hmm. Like, how much you want to put into Earl Thomas. He's, what, a 5-year, 6-year, 7-year guy?
No, I think he's 7.
7 years, yeah. So, I mean, how much do you want to trade for
option.
him thinking, how much do you think you're actually going to get out of him? That's the question
Not
you have
much,
to ask yourself,
I see him going for like a 5th round pick at the most, and people have talked about a 3rd round pick.
I heard someone say a 2nd.
Really?
Yes.
Ugh.
That's
Are
what
you
I'm
paying
saying.
that?
No, I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather just draft a rookie and take my chances.
I don't know. We could make Dallas great again.
Make Dallas great again. Who wants to? All right. Joe Fan, Jimmy Ward, spent time at corner this year.
He will spend time.
He will spend time at corner.
Yeah, as a safety. So if you do have a corner requirement, he is a guy that I would recommend trying to move to a corner if your league allows it. I know MFL does. I don't know if other leagues do. But him playing at corner may be a steal.
A steal.
I always get excited, but I don't really know if it's going to be a steal. But if I had to have a corner, and I wanted to throw pennies down and try and hope for $1, he'd be a guy. Paul is writing this down as we speak.
Oh, no.
I'm teasing. Rob Domofsky is reporting that Delvin Breaux, the cornerback for the free agents, is expected to meet with the Packers.
Who is?
Delvin Breaux.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Ian Rappaport reports that Reggie Nelson, a safety for Oakland, has been re-signed.
Yay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I didn't sound like super excited about the Green Bay cornerback. Honestly, I think Green Bay's finally doing what they've needed to do for a couple years.
Buying through free agents.
Bring in guys to have competition.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they were reported to trying to bring in Jordan Matthews. Bring in guys to make competition.
The wide receiver?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So, I feel like that's
is he
what...
a free agent right now?
Yeah. That's what Green Bay hasn't done is brought in competition.
Yo, call the boy up.
I don't know who else he's visited. I know he's visited several teams, though.
ESPN.com is reporting that Deron Harmon, a cornerback for the New England Patriots, was denied entry into Costa Rica for attempting to bring marijuana into the country. I guess he didn't know anything about customs.
It's a fun story. You got to put that stuff in a balloon. You got to hide it real tight, son.
You know what? I think it was worth it. Going Harmon instead of Malcolm Butler. You know? So dumb. Bill's really losing his step, man. He's out on the road.
Nah, I think he knows the time is going to come when he's not going to have Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Falcons.com is reporting that Justin Bethel, a cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons, has been signed to a 1-year contract coming from the Arizona Cardinals.
Neato.
That's why I think they get a corner. You know?
Yeah.
Play on the other side of Pat P.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Mayako is reporting that Eric Reed, a safety for the free agents, has interest in a couple of teams after being released by the 49ers. Fortunate for us, he did not tell us who.
All right, cool.
Cardinals.com is reporting that Ben Wickery, a cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons, has been signed to a 1-year contract coming from Carolina Panthers. Mike Garafolo is reporting that E.J. Gaines, a cornerback, has been signed to a 1-year deal with the Cleveland Browns.
Again, that was a guy who was traded in the Sammy Watkins trade this last season.
Yep. Worth it. Field Yates is reporting that Ross Cockrell, cornerback for Carolina, has been signed to a 2-year deal. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Denoris Searcy, a safety for Carolina, has been signed to a 2-year contract. Looks like they're going to fire their GM after 2 years. James Jones is reporting that Tremont Williams, a cornerback for Green Bay, has signed to a 2-year deal.
Coming back to Green Bay.
Matt Mayako is reporting that Richard Sherman, a cornerback for the San Francisco 49ers, has been picked up.
He's such a hypocritical ass.
Yo, they're just trying
I'm going to play for someone who can contend, and then he goes and signs for the freaking 49ers. He pulled a Brett Favre. Don't let that confuse you.
Dude, don't try and disrespect him with authority.
Dude, he wanted to go play. He wanted to play against the Seattle Seahawks twice a year is what he wanted to do. Bro, that's the only reason he signed there.
And this is his, not hometown, but where he went to college.
I know that, but come on. I know it's in the Stanford area, yes, but come on. That was a straight one to play against Seattle. Because how long has he held on that hatred for John Harbaugh for not drafting him?
Yeah.
How long has he harked on that one, man?
Wow.
He's a vengeful person, man. He's spiteful.
I love that about Richard Sherman, though.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying there's a lot of teams that would have probably given him money to come play there and actually contend.
Yeah. How many cornerbacks can beat their chest and play like he does, though?
I mean, did he really play that great last year?
Last year? Yeah. Let's kick fucking... My bad. Let's kick Brett Favre while he's down, too. I don't think Brett Favre can play. You know?
Well, of course he can. He's retired.
No. Sad story about Brett Favre. The other day he was talking, and he said that he can't even remember why he's at his little girl soccer games because he's had so many concussions.
His girls aren't that little. I figured they would be out of school. I mean, his oldest one's kind of hot, being completely honest. She's hot.
But isn't that sad, man? We
Bro,
talk about 60-year-old paraplegic women getting pushed down, all these crazy stories, people losing their vision. We have Brett Favre over here who can't remember why he's at a soccer game.
To be fair, Brett Favre had a drug addiction, and that's part of his stuff too. Like, that stuff kills memory loss.
All right, one last thing on Brett Favre. Have you ever seen the Buttonless Flies?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is hilarious. Saturday Night Live skit.
It is pretty funny. But I mean, I don't know. Damn, I had a point and I lost it now.
Yo, Mom, sorry about dropping the F-bomb.
It happens when you get swept up in the heat of passion.
And Cleopatra.
Pretty much.
Anyways, Ian Rappaport is reporting that Morgan Burnett has signed with the Steelers.
Who's Morgan Burnett?
Paul!
What? I'm serious. Who is he?
Your boy, man.
My boy.
Yeah, from Green Bay.
Oh, he's from Green Bay?
Yeah. You never heard of her?
Uh-uh.
Oh, I would get coffee with her. James Ihigdebo is a starting safety for the free agents eternally. He's retired. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Orlando Scandrick, a cornerback for the Washington Redskins, has signed with the Redskins. What's so funny, Paul?
Just the way you said that, man, it cracks me up. I can't help it. It was funny. Permanently. I'm sorry. It was funny.
Right. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Patrick Chung, a safety for the New England Patriots, has been re-signed. Adam Schefter is reporting that Tyrann Mathieu, a safety for Houston, has been signed to a 1-year contract.
Should have gone to Green Bay, you freaking moron.
Should have got a longer contract.
Should have gone to Green Bay. Just saying.
Ian Rappaport is reporting that Rashawn Melvin, a cornerback for Oakland, has been signed to a 1-year contract.
Yeah, they got the cream of the crop in the cornerback free agent class.
That's why they're not going to draft a corner.
Buck was going on about corners, man, the other day, and he's like, we're not going to sign anyone. He's like, we're losing everybody.
I know, man.
He was acting like it was an act of war and people were dying in front of him. He's like, they're all gone. They're all gone.
I'm just looking around. I got a full beard. There's blood all over me. All right, Josina Anderson is reporting that Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is a cornerback for the free agents, and he doesn't plan to sign with the team until April or so.
Did he sign? I thought he signed with somebody.
Nope. Dang. He says he doesn't want to sign until April or so.
Well, it is April. It's April 4th.
Yeah. Why, though?
I don't know. Maybe
what a lazy turd.
Maybe he was filming his show. He does have a show on USA.
All his kids?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
Really?
Keeping Up with the Cromarties or something like that is what it's called.
Ooh, I got to check this out.
Not a bad show.
The
Just
girl
him
may
and his
like
kids.
it.
Yeah.
We may watch it after coffee.
Yeah, that's true.
Cromartie and chill. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Byron Maxwell, a cornerback for the free agents, is in talks with the Seattle Seahawks.
Makes me want to drink a cup of coffee.
Dude, I love coffee. That's why I keep referencing it. I was going to drink coffee instead of these beers, but these beers sounded better. Mary Kay Cabot is reporting that Jason McCourty, a cornerback for the New England Patriots, was traded to the Patriots from the Browns. Collusion?
Hey, the Browns finally sent someone back. About time.
Collusion? It was initially reported as he had been released by the Browns.
Who would this be in collusion with?
All right, so the Browns reportedly released Jason McCourty, and then they said, oh, wait, we want to trade him to the Patriots.
Oh. I mean, if it's not official, it's not official.
Yeah. McCourty did meet up with his brother, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is
Safety.
pretty neat, yeah.
Do you think there's any collusion here?
Nah. I don't know. The NFL's a players' club, so I mean, I don't know. They could all talk in meetings for what we know.
Yeah.
Decide all that at the meetings.
I don't know.
They decided to blackball Colin Kaepernick at the last meeting, so I don't do that again.
Come on.
Facts. I don't know.
Don't get me fired up about Kaepernick. I was on his side. I was off his side. I was on his side, and then I'm now off his side. Like,
he's not in the NFL. He's not my problem.
All right. So whenever everybody was getting mad at, no, let's just end this. Let's just end this.
Trust me, our premium podcasts are not quite like this. We're a little bit more focused. This one was just kind of a fun one we wanted to do with the news.
Yeah.
So get to know a little bit more of what goes on in our brains when it comes to that. So, as always, folks, again, we're going to be doing 2 more podcasts tonight. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, be one of the first ones to listen to it. If you're up late, like we are, I'm up late every night. So, tune in. So, as always, start building your empire
Today.